The simplest model of oligopoly is that of the cartel model, which operates on the principle of joint profit maximization. The intuitive idea here is that the cartel will set the price in the same way as the monopolist and then divvy up the spoils of monopoly between them. To understand this cartel model, consider then a four-firm industry operating in Europe, in which each firm has grown tired of ruinous price wars. So during the industry's annual trade show in Dusseldorf, Germany, the chief executive officers of all four companies ignore antitrust laws against explicit collusion and risk a possible jail sentence as they slip off to a secret rendezvous. During that rendezvous, these cheating hard executives then negotiate what price should be charged for the product. And of course, as part of their secret cartel agreement, each firm will also have to agree to restrict its output so the price can be maintained in the market. So where do you think these oligopolists will set price from this set of choices? Please pause the presentation now to jot down your answer. Well, the answer here is B, and the logic is really quite simple. If these oligopolists can truly coordinate their activities, the obvious price to set is the same as that which would be set by a monopolist. That means, of course, the price will be set by the profit-maximizing rule of marginal revenue equals marginal cost. And if the price is set at that point, the oligopolists will then jointly maximize their profits, which is why this model is often called the joint profit maximization model. Now here's the part about the cartel model that is both interesting and ironic. The joint profit maximizing oligopolists often wind up cheating not just their customers out of hard-earned cash, but each other as well. Here's the obvious problem. In order for the joint profit maximizing cartel to set the monopoly price, total industry output must equal the monopoly output. That in turn means that each member of the cartel can only produce that member's agreed upon share of total production. But check this out. If any one firm in the oligopoly decides to cheat by producing more than its agreed upon share of output, it can make higher profits than if it adheres to the cartel agreement. In fact, it is precisely such cheating that has made the OPEC cartel far less successful in the real world at setting oil prices than the joint profit maximization model would suggest. Part of the problem has been the emergence of more energy-efficient technologies, like electric cars. And part of the problem has been the emergence of major oil-producing states like Norway and Mexico that have refused to join OPEC. And certainly part of the problem OPEC has faced in seeking to maintain higher oil prices has been the emergence of alternatives. And I'm talking not just about wind and solar, but also about so-called fracking technologies, which have tapped into abundant supplies of shale gas. That said, OPEC's biggest problem in maintaining price discipline has been wide-scale cheating within its ranks. This is due largely to the economic and political diversity of its members, as well as the large number of members in the cartel. On the one hand, those sparsely populated and fabulously wealthy members of the cartel like Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Qatar have been perfectly content to restrict output and enjoy monopoly profits. On the other hand, other much more populous and poorer nations like Venezuela, Iran, and Nigeria haven't been able to resist the urge to cheat on their production quotas because of large external debts to be paid and growing needs for cash. At any rate, that's the nuts and bolts of the cartel joint profit maximization model. Here's what's next. In a world in which explicit collusion is per se illegal, which is the case in most industrialized nations, the price leadership model has significant relevance to business strategy and public policy. This is because the price leadership model not only provides insight into how firms in an industry tacitly and thereby strategically collude, this model also explains how firms that refuse to collude might be punished. Here's the deal. With price leadership, executives within industry don't have to slip off to a secret rendezvous in Las Vegas or Paris or Tokyo to set prices. Rather, a practice evolves whereby the dominant firm, usually the largest firm in the industry, initiates a price change, and then all other firms in the industry are expected to more or less automatically follow that price change. Now, once the dominant firm, the price leader, initiates a price hike, three things can happen. In possibility one, all firms in the industry follow the price leader, and there is peace and high profits in the oligopoly kingdom. In possibility two, most or all of the other firms in the industry refuse to follow the price leader, and the price leader will typically back down. Finally, in possibility three, one or a few non-cooperative firms refuse to raise their prices and start stealing market share from the other players. In this case, the price leader will punish these firms by significantly slashing prices and thereby force heavy losses on smaller firms in the industry, presumably less able to absorb the losses. And it is in this way that the oligopoly maintains its price discipline. As to how this works in the real world, there is certainly no shortage of examples. Historically, the poster child for the price leadership model is the cigarette industry in America during a golden era that spanned from 1923 to 1941. During this period, the big three firms of Reynolds, American, and Liggett & Meyer managed to maintain virtually identical prices over the entire period while averaging a whopping 18% annual rate of return after taxes, a rate of return roughly double the rate earned by American manufacturing as a whole. In this new century, other industries such as farm machinery, anthracite coal, cement, copper, gasoline, newsprint, tin cans, lead, sulfur, rayon, fertilizer, glass containers, steel, automobiles all continue to be characterized by elements of the price leadership model. At any rate, you can see from these traditional models of oligopoly behavior, both the cartel and price leadership models, how important the strategic behavior of rivals can be in determining eventual outcomes in a wide variety of industries. And that's all well and good. But in more recent times, economists have found an additional tool known as game theory to be even more powerful when it comes to exploring strategic behavior in business. So let's get a little taste of such game theory now as we turn in our next module to the so-called prisoner's dilemma.